Supermodel Cindy Crawford is opening up about her high-profile marriage to actor Richard Gere in the early 90s. In recent interviews, she addresses the long-standing rumors about what really caused the demise of their whirlwind romance. From the challenges of their 17-year age gap to their diverging career ambitions, Crawford provides unprecedented insight into the truth behind one of Hollywood's most talked-about unions. Join Factsverse as we unravel the tapestry of Cindy Crawford's marriage to Richard Gere. The beginnings. In the late 80s, Hollywood was captivated by Cindy Crawford, a young supermodel with a beauty mark that defied conventional norms, and Richard Gere, a Golden Globe-winning actor who had already stolen hearts in films like An Officer and a Gentleman. Their worlds collided in 1988, setting the stage for a romance that captured the public's imagination and dominated headlines. Their first meeting was nothing short of serendipitous. Both were at the pinnacle of their respective careers, and yet their paths had never crossed. The details of the first encounter are shrouded in mystery, but their chemistry was instantaneous. Crawford was just 22, a young woman navigating the labyrinthine world of fashion, while Gere was almost 40, a seasoned actor well acquainted with the highs and lows of fame. Fast forward to December 1991, and the couple did what many young lovers dream of: they eloped. The elopement in Las Vegas was a pivotal moment that encapsulated the essence of their whirlwind romance. It was a decision that seemed to defy the norms of Hollywood relationships, which often involve elaborate engagements and even far more extravagant weddings. Instead, Crawford and Gere chose a path of simplicity and intimacy, far from the prying eyes of the media and the expectations of their fans. The ceremony was a low-key affair, but it was rich in symbolism and emotion. The vows exchanged were not scripted by publicists or borrowed from famous literature. They were heartfelt words that came from two people deeply in love. As for the ring, it was a simple band. No ostentatious diamonds or intricate designs, just a circle of metal that represented an unbroken bond. In the days following the elopement, the couple returned to their lives, forever changed but also invigorated by their newfound commitment. But they couldn't escape the media frenzy that followed. The initial months of their marriage were what many would describe as the honeymoon phase. They were frequently spotted at high-profile events, arm in arm, smiling for the cameras. They were the couple of the moment, and it seemed like their love story was straight out of a Hollywood script. The age gap, a double-edged sword. For Cindy and Richard, their 17-year age difference was a constant undercurrent in their relationship, a double-edged sword that brought both wisdom and challenges. In the beginning, the age gap seemed to work in their favor. Gere, with his years of experience in Hollywood, offered a sense of stability and wisdom that Crawford found appealing. He was a seasoned actor, the mature partner who had seen it all, and she was the young, up-and-coming supermodel, eager to learn and grow. It was a dynamic many found enchanting. Crawford herself admitted that in her early 20s, she was more willing to be led, to follow along with Gere's interests and worldviews. One of the most intriguing aspects of the relationship was Crawford's willingness to explore Gere's interests like Tibetan Buddhism. This phase of their relationship symbolized the extent to which she was willing to go to find common ground, even if it meant stepping into unfamiliar spiritual territories. While Crawford was willing to explore Gere's spiritual interests, she never compromised on her own passion, fashion. This became evident during their first Oscars appearance together. Crawford wore a red halter dress from Versace with an extreme plunging neckline, making a statement that fashion was back at the Oscars. This moment highlighted the couple's diverging interests and foreshadowed the challenges they would face in reconciling their different worlds. As Crawford entered her late 20s, a shift occurred. She began to feel her own power, to connect with her inner strength. This newfound self-awareness created tension in their relationship as it deviated from the dynamics initially established. The age gap became more pronounced as Crawford began to evolve. She was no longer the young woman willing to mold herself around her partner. She wanted to lead sometimes, to have her voice heard and her opinions valued. This change was not just a phase, it was a transformation, a coming of age that signaled her readiness to step into a new chapter of her life. And Gere was at a stage where thoughts of settling down and perhaps even retiring from acting were not far-fetched. The end, realizations and separation. The end of Cindy Crawford and Richard Gere's marriage wasn't just a tabloid headline, it was a deeply personal and transformative experience that shaped their lives in the years to come. Crawford has spoken candidly about the moment she realized her marriage to Gere was reaching its breaking point. She said that she just thinks one's 20s for women is such a time where you're starting to come into your own and feel your own power and connect to your inner strength. This realization was not a sudden epiphany, but a gradual awakening. A coming of age that signaled her readiness to step into a new chapter of her life. And as she stepped forward, it became clear Gere was not walking beside her. The decision to separate was not made lightly. It was the culmination of years of self-discovery, of understanding who they were as individuals and what they needed from a partner. When news of the separation broke, it was met with a mixture of shock and inevitability. The couple who had once epitomized the Hollywood dream were now just another statistic in the annals of celebrity breakups. The emotional toll was significant but also enlightening. Crawford has often spoken about the lessons she learned from her marriage to Gere, how it shaped her views on love, relationship, and personal growth. Gere, too, has moved on, finding love in subsequent relationships and continuing his journey as an actor and spiritual seeker. Life after Gere. The years following Crawford's separation from Richard Gere were transformative. Perhaps the most significant one came in the form of a new relationship with entrepreneur Randy Gerber, a union that stands in contrast to her marriage with Gere in many ways. Crawford and Gerber crossed paths first in the mid-90s, not long after her separation from Gere. Their chemistry was immediate, but this time Crawford approached love with the wisdom and experience that her previous marriage had afforded her. Gerber, a successful entrepreneur and former model, was not just another love interest. He was a partner in the truest sense, someone who respected Crawford as an individual and valued her opinions. One of the defining features of Crawford's relationship with Gerber is the sense of equality and mutual respect that underpins their union. Unlike her marriage to Gere, where she often felt the need to mold herself to fit into his world, Crawford found in Gerber a partner who encouraged her to be herself. They've also found success in joint business ventures. They co-founded the tequila brand Casamigos with actor George Clooney, a venture that was later sold for up to $1 billion. They have 2 children, Presley and Kaya, both of whom have followed in their mother's footsteps in the world of modeling. Family life has been a central focus for Cindy, and she often speaks about the joy and fulfillment motherhood has brought her. Crawford has spoken about the lessons she learned from her marriage to Gere and how those lessons have influenced her relationship with Gerber. The importance of mutual respect, the value of friendship in marriage, and the need for personal growth and independence. Now it's time to hear from you. What was your initial reaction to Cindy Crawford's marriage to Richard Gere? Did you think it would last? Let us know in the comments section below.